Morning. So this is day 9, the 23rd review of the 23rd of March. Um, it's been an interesting 24 hours. We are now officially in the process of lockdown for the entire country. But for the review, how did it lead there? How did it get here? What has happened? There was a petition, all the teachers calling out for schools to completely shut down, and demanding that it needs to happen. It's spreading. There's a number of cases in schools up in Auckland that kids are getting it, or teachers and kids. So then the chief scientists are calling for an extreme shutdown in New Zealand of everything, so more pressure and demand. The Reserve Bank is helping out to also buy $30 billion in government bonds in order to free up access for financial aid that we need to have. And it's on a side note, what's going on in America? So Harvey Weinstein has also tested positive for COVID-19. So so he's in prison anyway. And speaking of prisons, now there's also a bunch of outbreaks. Oh, was it in Colombia? I think up in Auckland too. That are riots of the prison inmates that are that's because of COVID-19, afraid of it. They're doing what they do. I mean, there's not much you can do in prison, I guess. And so they are worried about themselves, and so whether it implies they're trying to get out or not, but I think it's more the safety of them, for inmates not feeling that they're safe, which is very true. So I can understand the reasonings. I totally get it. Up in Auckland, the Auckland clinics the waiting rooms, I understand, are completely like a war zone. People are going in there demanding things and needing support and help, and they're being overwhelmed by just completely overwhelmed, and not enough staff to provide them the services that they need. New Zealand movie theaters have officially closed around the country. KiwiRail has stopped. Interislander has stopped services. Although they have, they're just finishing up the services, I guess. People right now currently are in South Island and Picton trying to get to the North Island. Everybody's trying to get home as quickly as possible before everything completely shuts down. So, the cases there are 32 cases in New Zealand. It means 102 cases now, when you look at the charts, it's following like every other trend. It's going a little bump and then flat, and all of a sudden just rising in completely like sharp. It is worrisome. But it looks like we're about 8 days behind the UK. So we really need to crack down on this. Otherwise, it's going on. And so, and that's exactly what New Zealand's doing. So New Zealand has gone into threat level 3. And with Jacinda coming out, talking about the finance minister, and then the opposition with Simon Bridges came in a separate talk, and then another one later on. There was the police, the education minister, all these individuals saying, what does it look like? How is it working? Because what Jacinda said is that we're moving from level 3 to level 4 for as a transition, giving it 48 hours in order to actually give people time to prepare. So I yesterday went. I didn't feel comfortable going into work at all. I woke up with a headache. And I'm living in this van. I'm there are things I need to work out logistically, where I'm going to stay. I need to prepare. I need to get things ready. I went into work, and the first I went to the staff lounge, and this is ridiculous. Stressed out, anxiety, took a Panadol because I woke up with a headache. I had horrible dreams that night. woke up early, just disrupted. And yeah, the first staff member I saw, I'm like, oh, like how are you going? Or she's asking, like, how are you going? And like, I'm just stressed and anxiety. And then internally, I'm like, I just don't want to be here. I don't feel safe, you know. And then I'm like, oh, how are you doing? She's like, oh, I feel like I think a little like a cold or a flu or something. I'm like, why are you here? Like, she's like, oh, it's nothing. I'm like, no. You're clearly like, you say you're sick. Why are you here? Go home. Go home. Freaking, I'm like, nah, that's the last drop. I'm done. So I went and talked to my manager. I'm like, nope, not doing it. I told him like but the thing is, at this time anyway, I had 10 days annual leave, and I planned for my brother's wedding in America. And I'm like, I'm taking my annual leave. I'm taking it. I have things I need to sort out, and my health is utmost important. First and foremost, I need to get this worked out, and this is going to get worse. And I'm like, I can't do this. And another guy came in, another manager. He's like, oh, Jake, we need you in Tills. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable on Tills. Not going to people. I don't feel comfortable handling people's money. I could work in the department that I work in, but I'm not. You know, and after talking to my manager, she's like, no, just go home. I know she's stressed out completely anyway, and it's not helping the situation. But I have things to get done, and so I just had to go and run around everywhere and go to Bunnings and go to a warehouse and figure out the lights, because the lights aren't working in here. I need to get new ones, and now my roof is leaking, and trying to find a place to stay and get the rest of the food prepared. It is so stressful. It is so stressful. Here I am trying to already get worked up and trying to stay calm. So later in the day, that's when the announcement came out, and so I was just watching that, just typing away on the computer what I need to get done, to get my laundry done, and and then the supermarkets, after half an hour after the announcement came, the supermarkets went in complete chaos. Even though the supermarkets are going to be open, but people are just preparing and trying to avoid it, you know, because we'll have to have a meter or 2 meter distance between each other. And even going to supermarkets today, it just, yeah. I mean, more Wilson's has been good for keeping the distance and allowing so many people coming in. Pack and Save, no. I haven't made that work there. It's just chaos. She's been working 11-hour days and stressed and anxiety, and people running around everywhere, and it is chaos in that space. So another news then, like, so a bunch of people have been traveling New Zealand and going on longer tramps, because that's what people do. And so this Belgian couple who actually lives in Australia came out of it, find out that we're in lockdown, and that they're trapped and there's no planes out of New Zealand and to get back to Australia where their home is. And they're trapped in this small town, and they just have a backpack with some bit of clothing, and that's it. These are the circumstances that we're facing right now. And I have another mate